I guess we have to speak in the microphone. First of all, before I begin my 3 or 4 minutes, I'll take up a couple of seconds of my 3 or 4 minutes by saying I want to thank everybody who showed here tonight. I think one of the foundations of good government is an engaged, informed electorate, and by the fact that you folks are here tonight, you show that you are part of that informed, engaged electorate. So I appreciate you being here. Would that more people would be here. My name is Gilicki. Some of you know me from earlier issues involvement with the Republican Party. I am an Ohio resident, grew up in Northeast Ohio. For a brief bio, in my teens, left Ohio to serve my country, graduated the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, and I didn't return to Ohio until many, many years later, like 32 years later, and returned to Geauga County, made my home here since that time. I have not only retired from the United States military, but retired as a manufacturing manager. I was largely engaged in the manufacturing facilities management prior to or after my time in the military, and got engaged in my local village political scene in November of 2017, ran for village council, was elected to council, and subsequently I have decided to try and engage and solicit your support for the position of Geauga County Commissioner. Quite frankly, I think that my own opinion is that Geauga County deserves good government. We have a gem here in Geauga County. We deserve good government. We deserve engaged, present public officials. Okay? I come to you as a veteran with 32 years of service under my belt, and I think veterans bring unique qualifications to both civic and political engagement process. Veterans have a commitment to serve, they bring integrity, they have a broad cross-section, they have familiarity with a broad cross-section of the American public through their service. They have strong leadership skills, often forged under adverse conditions, and also they are very acutely aware of the human consequences of bad policy decisions. So I think they bring something that other candidates don't. I'd like to have the opportunity to continue my service both to the country and my community through election to the position of Geauga County Commissioner, and I think we can do better. And my promise is to engage with the community, to be a presence at Board of Commissioner and committee meetings, to be a presence within the greater community of Geauga County, to solicit opinions from citizens and in terms of other elected officials in the townships and municipalities that make up Geauga County, and to better serve the people. I'm getting my 30-second warning here. So with that, I will relinquish the microphone.
Dennis.
Yes.
A couple things we'd like to hear from you today is, could you please explain what it is that a commissioner does?
Sure. Okay. Now, county commissioners make up the general administrative body for county government. They can perform those duties which are specifically authorized by the General Assembly and no more. They are the county government taxing, budgeting, appropriating, and purchasing authority. Individual commissioners have no power to act independently, believe it or not. All formal and official actions must be taken by the Board of County Commissioners acting as a body, either by a majority or a unanimous vote. However, it's the non-statutory duties of commissioners that make them different, I believe, than any other county elected officials. I view that county commissioners must take a broad view of actions necessary to make the county a better place to live and work. Management style should mainly empower and subordinates while holding them accountable. And commissioners must be astute and have good sense. But perhaps the most important attribute I would offer for our county commissioner is the ability to show up for work, to lead, to listen to the needs of the citizens and other elected officials, to compromise, and to develop a consensus on priority issues to improve the county.
Thank you. This one's a loaded question. As commissioner, what do you plan to do differently than your opponent?
All right. This may be a loaded question, but perhaps it's time for a little bit of truth here. Okay. In the military, we have a saying that with authority comes responsibility, and with them both accountability. And I believe we need to hold our elected officials to the highest standards of accountability and challenge them to be the best representatives of the people. Those public servants need to be actively engaged in county government, to show up for work and be present in county government proceedings, and be a presence within the greater Geauga County community. Our citizens deserve better than the record of attendance that they have received from the incumbent in the past 7+ years. I think everybody should be able to stand on their record, and in the incumbent's 2 terms as a commissioner, the incumbent has missed a total of 62 Board of Commissioner meetings, 33 in his first term and 29 in his second term. In his 2 terms as commissioners, he has missed 746 votes due to his absences. In his first term, he missed 414 roll call votes, and in his second term, he missed 332 roll call votes. Now, for comparison purposes, in the period beginning 5 January 2017 to December 31, 2019, approved minutes reveal that Commissioner Tim Lennon has missed only 4 meetings compared to the incumbent's 29 absences in the same period. Be aware, know the record. If this is the type of government that you want, then please support the incumbent. I'm asking you to have the opportunity to provide better government than what you had for the 7+ years with the incumbent as commissioner.
One more. Do you support OACA? And if so, why or why, and why or not?
And who's that question come from? Oh, it's actually one of the submitted questions. Okay. I know there are deeply embedded and heartfelt opinions about NOACA, okay? And my own impression is that you have to be a critical consumer. And I can't say that, one, I would 100% support it all the time, or that I would be against it all the time. NOACA is a great source for government funds to improve the community. It supports projects that don't have to come out of our local tax dollars. Those are all the good things, okay? But in accepting any grant, you have to be aware of what you're buying, okay? Buyer beware. Be informed. Oftentimes, with the acceptance of grants, you may give up local control. So you have to be a critical consumer of the type of grants. My own personal opinion is, if you think I've been hedging, I think that there are opportunities to use NOACA as a vehicle to support public works projects that don't rely on local tax dollars. But again, you don't necessarily want to give up that local control or permanently use forever the use of a particular type of property. And I use an example from my own South Russell Village experience. One of the elected officials in South Russell Village applied for a grant without full knowledge of council. He signed a contract to engage in use of privately owned property for public purposes, to take a public property that was owned by an HOA and to convert it to wetlands, allegedly for enhanced stormwater control. He didn't engage the people that belonged to the HOA. The individual was a resident of that particular HOA, chose to ignore the HOA rules and to engage in a contract to use that public land or the privately held land for public purposes. You know, in my opinion, he disenfranchised all those people. Luckily, we were able to catch it very early in the process and to prevent it from happening. But that's an example why you have to be informed of what you're going to. And I think there are some good uses of NOACA funds for public projects. But again, be aware of what you're buying into. So.
Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us tonight, Dennis.
To have the privilege of having the job of making the roads safe, you know, that's rewarding for me. Getting through a storm and seeing the final product of what you've done. It's something I take pride in, and because of it being a challenge, it's something I enjoy doing.